You're looking at Google. You're looking at customer acquisition cost, whatever you want to look at. Customer acquisition cost, ROAS, AMER is far superior towards what you're seeing on Facebook, right? Always. Yes. They're like, well, let's just stop spending on Facebook and let's just scale Google. So how do you advise the client that? I know that we're laughing because we understand the question.
Because these questions come up so often.
Yeah.
And they're also a banes of our existence. So
yeah.
So for example, we have a brand right now asking this exact same question.
Okay.
So on Meta, they're spending about $130K a month. On Google, they're spending about $30K a month.
Yep.
And so they're asking the question like, ROAS is so much better on Google. I'm like, well, it depends. It's the answer we all hate. Because for you to see a massive lift just from Google, you have to spend 2 or 3 times more on Google to see how does that actually change in my overall sales, because Meta is spending so much already. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Like, well, it's not really apples to apples at this point.
Yeah.
And the second thing as well is, where on Google is that revenue coming from? Typically, we like, for our budget allocation, we'll spend probably like 80% of it just on acquisition only, non-branded keywords. Because we want to drive new traffic and new customers. So when they ask Matt, when they ask us that, I say, hey, let's do an analysis first. Is there even a ceiling on Google with the search demand for us to grow to 110K a month without tapping into YouTube? Because YouTube is like its own other thing to where you can create demand.
Yeah.
That's a different beast. But just like on search traffic, shopping and search, can we actually reach that ceiling? And some brands, hey man, you're already maxing out your budget. Like you're always showing up already. So either you have to find a new market, new keywords, or then you have to go off like smart display or YouTube to create demand. So long story short, it depends. So typically what we do in this situation is say, okay, I hear you. We may see some opportunities as well. Let's do a budget allocation test for the next month where you're spending 110K on Facebook, Meta, 30K on Google. Okay, let's shift. Let's do 50 grand or 60 grand on Google, take some of that away from Meta. Watch over the next month, how does our new customer revenue or CAC change? Does it increase? Does it decrease? And then that will give us a better indication of, okay, what's like the better efficiency of how we spend our money? Because like also, paid social, it rises the tide for all ships.
That's right.
Like you've seen it, I've seen it where you scale up a brand on Meta and their search demand on Google goes up, right? So you have to take that into context.
And if you were to turn off Facebook or Meta, what would that do to Google, right?
It would have a diminishing return over time because you still have like a long tail keyword, long tail end of that. But we actually had, so a really funny story. We have a brand that sells wigs.
What do you mean?
So they're wigs.
Oh, wigs. I thought you meant like Wix, like a candle wick. Yeah.
So they sell wigs.
Okay.
And this brand does $800 to $1 million a month selling wigs.
What?
Yes.
I feel like that would have to be an in-person try it on, make sure everything's covered.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so their struggle was...
There's nothing worse than a bad wig, bro.
Oh, I know. I know, right?
All right. What's the return rate? All right.
Their struggle was because they're probably spending like $100K a month around that on influencers, a couple $100,000 a month on Meta and Google. And so their struggle was like, I don't know what's actually making me my money. And so I'm just going to turn off all advertising spend.
Oh gosh.
All advertising spend.
What?
And so what happened was, for a month, sales really didn't change because they were they had their email list. They've been around for a business long time. They still had their organic presence. But then over a long period of time, diminishing returns started to show up to where now 3-4 months afterwards, they actually call us back up and say, okay, we want to come back. Because now we see what you said was true was over time, we're going to have diminishing returns. And so that's where you have to take that into consideration.